Good morning, everyone. Morgan Stanley has come out with a piece regarding Tesla and their current price cuts, etc. And I think they have a pretty silly take on what traditional automotive companies should do going forward. A lot of people are covering this already, so I'm going to go to Matt Posius and let him explain what they're saying in this latest article. So let's check that out, and then I'll come back with some thoughts.
Morgan Stanley continues here. In the wake of Tesla's Q1 results, we have had many discussions with clients about what this means for the legacy OEMs. If Tesla weaponizes their cost leadership in the form of price, potentially sacrificing as much as 1,000 basis points of operating profit margin in the process, doesn't this impair the economic returns of the EV spending plans the legacy players are embarking upon? Of course, the answer to that question is yes. In our opinion, says Morgan Stanley, the answer to this is yes. So overwhelmingly yes, that we are questioning whether this is the moment where the boards of the legacy OEMs can reconsider dialing back the magnitude and timing of their EV capex and R&D plans, allowing more time for the internal combustion engine runoff to generate cash as we enter a more uncertain macroeconomic era. Even before Tesla reduced the base price of a Model Y in the US by nearly 30% year to date, we struggle to see how Detroit could achieve a return on invested capital on their EV investment anywhere near their weighted average cost of capital, or even a positive net operating profit after taxes margin at all. The issue is compounded by the potential risk that legacy auto investment may be based on out-of-date, potentially obsolete battery technology, manufacturing processes, and insecure supply chains.
So Morgan Stanley here, to sum that up, is basically saying because Tesla is cutting prices, maybe now is not the time to increase investment in our development of electric vehicle technology. Let's slow down, and I think this is not a wise move, but it continues on here, so let's have a look.
If you read in between the lines, basically Morgan Stanley is telling all of these OEMs to go bankrupt. And this part specifically here, I think, is the part that Brett thinks is the most insane. We don't think it's too early for investors to think about the spending pivot at the legacy OEMs. Under the right strategy, spending less than planned can drive improved returns for shareholders, meaning try to transition much slower, and that will actually be beneficial to the shareholders. Selfishly, as a Tesla stock investor, I seriously hope that every single automaker takes Morgan Stanley's advice.
So I think this is a ridiculous suggestion from Morgan Stanley to the traditional automotive manufacturers, to suggest to them to slow down at all on pushing into electric vehicles. To me, makes no sense. They just get further and further behind, and they seem to suggest there that they say they don't know the limits to Tesla's push into electric vehicles. Well, at least they're admitting they don't know, because Tesla's not going to stop. They're going to keep pushing. They're going to keep taking more market share. Their costs are going to keep going down. The electric vehicles will become more and more affordable from Tesla. So if you slow down trying to catch up to what Tesla has already done, you just get further behind. And you don't have to take my word for this. I've listened to a lot of different people on this topic, and one of them is Tony Seba. I highly recommend watching his YouTube videos on what's coming, and I'll play a little highlight for you here and then make some more comments afterwards. So here's Tony Seba.
Battery costs, which went down, by almost 90%, we expect another 80+% over the next 10 years. Drop in costs, right? That convergence of solar, wind, and battery is already happening. Solar and wind are the cheapest sources of energy, period. And we expect that combination of solar, wind, and battery to be 70% cheaper by 2030, right? So the cheapest sources of energy are becoming 70% cheaper. What do you think is going to happen? This is going to change everything. There is no reason to use anything else, right? Disruption is inevitable.
So that's just a little clip from Tony Seba's presentation, and he goes into great detail of the cost declines of solar, wind, and batteries. And he even covers how electric vehicles, their cost will decline. Electric vehicles use way less moving parts and way less parts in general, and Tesla is innovating in a way that is reducing parts even more with their gigacastings and whatnot. So as time goes forward, these electric vehicles are going to become very affordable. And as far as to fuel them, especially if you have access to solar and wind with batteries, which Tesla's working on that as well, the fuel is going to become more and more affordable. It's inevitable. That's where we're going. So you cannot delay. If you're an automotive manufacturer, this is not the time to say, oh, well, Tesla's cutting prices, so we can slow down a little bit and make some money on internal combustion engine vehicles for a little while longer. This is going to happen quickly. These cost declines are exponential. As he pointed out there in the clip, they've already come down 90%, and he was expecting another further 80% in battery costs. It's going to become such a no-brainer to get an electric vehicle. You don't want to delay. So that's why this suggestion from Morgan Stanley is ridiculous. The internal combustion engine is going away, and the quicker you make the move from the internal combustion engine vehicle to the electric vehicle and start riding that cost decline, you got to get to mass production to see those cost declines in the production of an electric vehicle. So the earlier you do that, the quicker you ride down the cost decline curve and get to that affordable price. People aren't going to care what Elon Musk is tweeting about, silly things like that. Like, if the car gets you from A to B and it's the cheapest way to get from A to B and the cheapest to fuel, the least maintenance, that's the way to go. And most people don't care who the CEO of the car company is that they purchase a car from. So Tesla is in the lead already, and they keep accelerating their lead. For Morgan Stanley to suggest that now might be the time to slow down, I think is such bad advice from a company that's supposed to be a leader in investment and whatnot. That's why I think they're getting a lot of flack today. So those are my thoughts for this morning on the Morgan Stanley comments in this latest article. Again, I highly recommend watching the Tony Seba videos on YouTube about where this new technology is going, solar, wind, and battery. He touches on electric vehicles as well, autonomy. I'll put a link in the description so you can check that out. And if you watch all his videos, I think you'll understand where we're going a lot better and why this suggestion from Morgan Stanley is not going to age well. And like Matt Posius said, as a Tesla investor, selfishly, if they actually slow down, Tesla's just going to get further and further ahead. As a Tesla investor, it would be good for me, but as far as electric vehicles becoming the source of transportation for tomorrow, I think it's better that happens sooner rather than later, and we need traditional automotive companies and a lot of players to be making compelling electric vehicles going forward to make this transition. Tesla can't do it all themselves. Well, maybe they could, but it would take a much longer time. Those are my thoughts. My name's Evan Bertrand. This is the Evergreen Channel. Thanks for watching.